All right, welcome along to our first ever video podcast, CrocTV. I've got my special guest here, our scouting and technical coach, Mr. Rodney Anderson.
G'day.
How you going, mate?
Yeah, really good.
For those of you who may or may not know him, as aliasly DJ Rod as well. Been involved with the club for a long, long time. He's going to help me out today while we have a bit of a chat about how the Crocs have gone for the season and other things that have been going on throughout the NBL this 2012-2013 season. Rod, what's happening with the boys? They haven't had the best start to the season.
Yeah, no, it's not been the best start, but hopefully things are just starting to roll now. Of course, cutting to imports just after the pre-season and then getting two new guys in. It took a while for those guys to just settle into the groove, and then you have guys like Abney and Holmes injured, so those guys didn't train pretty much for a month. So it's pretty much your whole pre-season pretty much starts 2 weeks ago. So the guys are just getting their feel. They've been now training together. So I think we should be good.
Well, let's take a step back there. You mentioned pretty quickly off the rack the sacking of our first two imports.
Yep.
What kind of effect would that have on the guys?
It's a big thing to try and get over. Of course, those two guys, they're supposed to be the focal of offense and defense. So you've got to then reintegrate and gel with those guys as well. So it is tough, and to get two new guys in, and then the personalities and stuff like that have to try and mix. So it's tough, but it's professional sport. You got to do it.
Now, obviously, we were pretty lucky in the pickup after we let go of the two guys, and we picked up Gary Irvin, MVP 2 years ago.
Yep.
Big pickup for a point guard position for us, where we've always seemed to go all right with picking up on the point guards. Probably the strongest point guard we've probably picked up, I believe.
Yeah, well, MVP a couple of years ago, so that's a good thing. His runs are on the board, so points, assists. He's go to my stats. 15.2 points a game and 4.5 assists a game. So he's definitely he's finding his groove now, and he's showing what he did a couple of years ago, and the reason why he was so sought after by so many clubs and even by European clubs as well. Definitely.
Now, obviously, then also signing the Birdman Larry Abney. Some say a big call, I would believe. I mean, what he did for the club when he was first time around here. 35 years old, pretty much retired as it was, doing a desk job, and then coming back to the NBL. Was it a tough call? Was it a big call? Did it work?
You have to look at the expectations. So obviously, we didn't expect him to be Larry Abney from 2006 whenever he played here. When he played here, he was All-Star 5. He was that good.
Yep.
When he went to Cairns, he was getting a lot of money, and he took that next step. But that was 5 years ago. So we knew when he first came what we expected from him. He's going to be a hustle guy, defend the post, rebound as much as he could, and play 10 to 15 minutes a game. So we didn't expect too much out of him. But Larry expects a lot out of himself, and that's why he was so disappointed with the knee injury and not being able to contribute, and then eventually succumbing to his knee injury and retiring, which is, the best thing about Larry Abney coming back?
What was that?
I saw one more Birdman.
And I've got to admit, that was a pretty big special moment when he did pull out the Birdman. I can tell you what, I don't know whether it was pain or excitement that was on his face when he did do it, but when he pulled out the Birdman symbol, it did mean a big thing. I guess the other thing that Larry did bring to the team was that experience, and became, I guess, that the look that the players looked to their imports to start with, but also brought in that he's played the league, he's an import, but he's got the experience of playing at that level, and he seemed to bring that level head.
And he was an experience in the locker room. He was that guy that guys could talk to. He could go and talk to other guys. He wasn't afraid to say what he felt. So Larry was a great guy around the locker room. Really, really nice guy. I tweeted to him just before he left that I was privileged to be a fan and then a hater when he went to Cairns and then a fan again. So being able to coach him a little bit, I definitely highlighted my career. He's a great guy.
For those people that don't realise that Larry has retired again and has headed home, it was one of those things, and I've got to sort of reiterate where you were going with that as well. And he was a professional, having only dealt with him this season, just very professional to deal with. So he will be sadly missing the club, I believe. And he was pretty happy to see his name still up on the honour board, though, so that was always a good thing as well. Moving on from that, obviously things have since from then, we then signed Luke Neville. He's played one game for us so far, and we had a win.
Yep.
I'm not prepared personally to say that he was the X factor.
No.
He did make a difference, though, and I'm very keen to say that in the sense of he did take a lot of defensive pressure, pulling it back into the key where a big man should be.
Yeah, he sucked in the defence a lot, and we went to him specifically at the start of the game just to, maintain that dominance in the paint and suck the defence in, and then hopefully our guys like Blanchfield, Crawford, Irvin will get more space in the perimeter. So that's why he's here. But last week he only played 12 minutes, I think. So he's not going to be just playing 12 minutes every game. He was just getting used to the system.
Yep.
Didn't know all the players. You could see he was a bit confused out there. But the other thing he did was change shots around the rim. So his defensive presence, big time for us. Just changing shots, blocking shots, creating space in the paint.
Well, I guess the biggest thing is just looking at the table as such. After round 10, so New Zealand on top they've played 10 games, they've won 8, lost 2. For me, would you say they were a bit slow off the mark to start this year? I know they're 8-2, but they just did seem, compared to having won 2 championships in a row, to now being back at the top, that it's taken them till almost round 10 to get to the top.
Well, that very first game against New Zealand, New Zealand against Perth smacked them at home.
Yeah.
So I think that was a bit of a wake-up call for them, and then they've sort of just started to roll on and pick up some great results.
I've got to say something though on New Zealand. Are they riding on Cedric Jackson's shirt tails?
Hey, I would too.
But if he goes down, like he had a lot of issues last year with ankles and stuff like that. If he goes down again, have they got someone to step up? Now, Bruton's there. Yes, he has the calibre to do it. Does he still have the calibre?
He's more of a role player now, but if Jackson went down, they'd be in a little bit of trouble. But you'd also say that Abercrombie hasn't fired at 100% yet.
He has been the biggest underachiever of the season so far. And look, I rate him as a player, but he hasn't showed up this year. Now, I don't know whether he's still got complications from his injuries from last year or not. But I mean, in saying that, it's definitely, well, they're up there. They are the team to beat still, I would have to say.
But how good's Jackson going? He triple-double last game. He's averaging 17 points, 8 assists, and almost 3 steals a game. 5 rebounds as well. So,
in saying that, I would love to see his figures when he's played against Gary, because I think Gary's pretty much had his measure. I know he had him in the first game. He had his measure pretty good. When they played here at home, it was pretty to and fro. And like Gary, when I chatted to Gary, those people would have seen in previous interviews, they have a good tussle. They do enjoy playing against each other.
They've played each other a fair bit in D-League and in college and stuff like that. If you want to have a good look at a good video on YouTube, have a look at Cleveland State against Syracuse, college game. Cedric Jackson hits a 3-quarter shot against Johnny Flynn, a guy we're playing tonight, and wins the game against Syracuse. So have a look at that one on YouTube. It's pretty good. But Cedric Jackson, easily the MVP of the league at the moment for mine.
Look, in saying that, I've got to touch on a couple of other teams that have really shone for me at the moment. Now, Perth, for me, have been very hot and cold.
Yeah.
But I did watch their game when they played Wollongong Hawks last night on the Friday night game. They have their new guy, and his name's absolutely slipped my mind right
Dunnigan,
now.
Yeah.
Dunnigan. They're going to find it hard to let him go when Matt Knight comes back.
You could tell when they interviewed Matt Knight last night that they weren't rushing anything because they obviously knew that Dunnigan was pretty good. He's long. You could see when he put his arm up, he almost was touching the rim just standing on his flat feet.
He's a very athletic big man. He hit 19 points. He didn't pull a huge amount of rebounds, but he is hard inside, okay? Very similar to Matt Knight, for those that haven't seen him play yet. A very similar play, very hard under the hoop. Doesn't mind bashing bodies.
No, it looks like he loves it.
Can get up there and can hit a shot from just about anywhere on the court. So
great touch around the rim. That's what I noticed last night. Left hand, backing down on the post, finishing around the rim. He had great touch. So definitely a player that I'll have to start scouting and see what we can do against him.
Now, on the other hand, Wollongong Hawks.
I picked them for close to last this year, and I've done it so many times. Millie, I'm sorry, mate. Millie Simic from the CEO of the Hawks. I do it every year, and you surprise me every year, but kudos to Gordy.
In saying that, though, I mean, yes, they're 7-3, and they're sitting in third spot on percentage, but tied with Perth.
Yep.
Are they on the slide down now? They've had a couple, like they've lost their last two.
Yeah.
Look, they've lost their last two before last night, then they lost last night, so they've lost 3 in a row. Everyone has been talking up the two guards, DeLeon and
Hurdle.
And they never seem to play on the court at the same time. They did a bit last night, and they seem to work well together. I just don't know if they don't play them enough together.
I've made the mistake of writing them off too many times. I wrote them off with 3 minutes to go in 2001. They came back and beat us on the home floor just behind me. So I'm not going to do it again. Made too many mistakes. Wollongong, I think, will make the playoffs.
Now, the team that's impressed me the most this season so far, and I quickly want to touch on them because to me they're the bolters of the competition. Sydney Kings.
Sydney, yeah.
Hammer Hill he's got these boys working quite well. I mean, I won't go saying a fine oil machine, but in the last 5 games, they've won 4 of the last 5.
Yep.
And the loss they did have was probably not the best loss they could have had, but 4 out of the last 5, they're humming. They are humming.
Yeah, and they're riding on Ben Madgen's back. He's been on a tear, scoring so easily, shooting the ball so well. He's actually, at the moment, looking at one of the top seasons in history. If you have a look at the Nash scoring rule, it's the 50-40-90 rule. So shooting 50% from 2-pointers, 40% from 3, and 90 from the line. Nash has done it 4 times. Larry Bird's done it twice, and the other guys are Reggie Miller, and Dirk Nowitzki. But that's in the NBA, of course, not over here. But Ben Madgen at the moment, 48% from the field, 43 from 3-pointers, and 85 from the free throw line. Like, he's on an offensive tear, and they're riding his back. Leading the league in scoring. Too,
look, I know you said earlier on that Cedric Jackson is your pick for MVP.
Yep.
You've got to give Ben Madgen at least a dark horse shot at this. I tell you, he for me has been someone that's just flown straight under the radar and has just gone, this is my year. I need to make it happen.
If Cedric Jackson doesn't win it, I think that Madgen might almost get MVP and most improved because he has been amazing for them.
Definitely.
He's obviously worked on his game. He's always had that mid-range game and the slashing game, but the 3-pointers are going down. He's doing everything else on the court. He's just, I'm going to beat anyone off the dribble I can. I can shoot whenever I can, and, it's working for him. So.
Now, we consider, obviously, Cairns is sitting in 6th place on 4 and 6. Melbourne are 2 and 7, and we're probably in a very uncomfortable 1 and 10.
Yep.
Obviously, we've got the Tigers tonight. Obviously, it'll be after by the time you guys see this recording, but
just lock in a win.
We'll lock it in. It still won't put us into. It won't get us off the bottom only on percentage because of games played, but. I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to ask you this. I've got my own opinion on this, but can the Crocs, mathematically they can make the finals?
Yep.
Can they make it? Can they do it?
They believe they can. So it's the belief in the team. They're a pretty close group. They all sit around in a locker room after a loss, and they look at each other in the eye, and they know what they've done wrong. They talk about it. It's tough at training. They train against each other really hard. But they have that belief that they can get on a roll and they can make the playoffs. Now, it might come down to other teams falling over or other teams making mistakes, but, take advantage where you can. So they believe they can do it. They believe they can get on a roll. The win streak starts tonight, get 2 in a row, and then we can work from there.
That's exactly right. And it's easy for me to say that's what I was thinking too. I've got to admit, I'll always believe the boys can make it.
Yep.
I have, it's not going to be easy for them, but I've said it from about the 3rd game in, and why I couldn't explain why we weren't going so well is because the team did seem to gel. They've always seemed to gel from the start. They all seem to get on very well together. It just wasn't showing on the court. And I think people were being a bit disillusioned by what was actually what they were seeing on a court compared to before.
They were getting along off the court really well. It was just getting the time together on the court, and with Abney and Holmes not practicing, with them, Abney and Irvin coming in late, it just slowed that process down a little bit. It was like we were starting our pre-season, 5 games in or 6 games in, and hopefully it's starting to work now. We almost got that win against Perth here. We played so much better than we had all season. Yep. Then we got that win last week against Adelaide. Then hopefully we can build it again and again.
Definitely. Now, I've got to touch on, I want to go back to talking about our boys again for a second there. Someone that shone out to me this year so far in the season, and he's had hot and cold games as well, but Vinny Blanchfield, Todd, has probably, to me, been one of the most consistent players we've had all season. Whereas in seasons gone by, he's had a couple of big games and then gone really quiet. Got into the starting 5, went quiet, then had a couple of big games when he got put back to the bench. Whereas this year, he's just seemed to have shown up. He seemed to be playing a lot harder. I'm going to go out there. I'm quite surprised that it was a shame that he didn't get the opportunity to be picked in the starting 5 for the All Stars.
Yeah.
I know there's still a possibility that he could be picked on the bench 5.
Yep.
But for me, he's been our standout player for this season.
Definitely our most consistent, and sometimes when we need to score, all the attention's been on Gary and PC. They've got to rush out to get to those guys. They're leaving Vinny in the corner, so he's knocking down those threes. He's 10 and almost 11 points a game he's averaging now, which I'm pretty sure would be a career high for him.
Yeah.
So. He's got to be able to not just knock down that three, he's got to be able to get on the bounce and get to the front of the rim now. So, 2016, he's a possibility, I think. Guys like him and Clint Steindl, Ben Madgen that we were talking about before,
Yep.
Those guys are in with a chance of 2016.
Well, I think I remember Birdman saying it. He's laid it out there on the line. He's turned around and said Todd Blanchfield and Mitch Norton, boomers.
Yeah.
It's a big call, and I honestly feel confident. Look, I know Todd's up there. Todd gets, and I feel sorry for him a little bit. He has been compared to the new Andrew Gaze and all that kind of stuff, and even Gaze's thrown it. Even Gaze's thrown it out there that he thinks he's like a Sam McKinnon, and that's probably more of I believe that's because I've never seen Gaze dunk the ball, whereas I've seen Sam dunk it many a time. So
another YouTube clip you can look up. Andrew Gaze in Geelong.
And I'm sure Andrew would tell us that he can dunk it all the time, but it's one of those things. But yeah, look, I honestly think that Todd's been our biggest standout this year overall. Whereas I know there's been a few other players that have really hit their straps.
I think, I've had the privilege of coaching Todd the last 2 years in State League, and he's had the under-23 player MVP the last 2 years in State League. I've been able to, just work with him every single day there. And the progression and the confidence he's getting from the State League and bringing it out in the court here, it's something that, he's worked really hard on.
Well, that's good. And that's the biggest thing is every year he seems to be improving, which is another thing. As is Mitchie Norton. He, to me, is our new version of either Kelvin Roberts or Brad Davison. He's just that. I think it even got mentioned in the paper the other day when talking about how his big matchup tonight against Johnny Flynn, he's to bring that spark plug. Now, obviously, everyone knows that Brad spark plug Davison. So I think he is our new. We always seem to have that kind of guard.
Yep.
As that little mongrel guard, as you could say, who just wants to get into the opposition's face and just make their job so hard.
It's when Brad was playing here for the Suns and for the Crocs, Mitch was there at training. Like he's been around training since he's 10 years old pretty much. And Brad Davison even said that Mitch is his favourite player in the league at the moment. So. Yep. I'm sure Mitch is trying to model his game after Brad. And
it's not a bad model to model after either. So
he's got to be that feisty guy in defence. He's got to be the guy taking charges, which he's done pretty well this year. He's got to be getting to the rim like Brad did and then knocking down the three, which Brad really worked hard on too.
Well, that's the biggest thing that I've noticed with Mitch. He don't care how big that opposition player is. I've seen him. He was taken on Luke last week, and
he got smashed by Pledger in New Zealand.
Exactly. But he just gets up, dusts himself off, and gets back to it. I mean. And another man that seems to be doing that at the moment is Jacob Solar-Holmes. He just seems to be...
You know what you're getting from him every week.
Well, I've never seen a man so strong on the boards since... And it's a big call, I'm going to throw it out here, but Mark Davis from 36ers days.
I thought you were going to say Clarence Tyson.
No, well, hey, look, I could throw Clarence out there because Clarence was a dominant man on the boards, but Mark Davis did it for so long back in the day, where... And Jacob... to me, reminds me of that. He can hit the points when he needs to hit the points. Yep. But, I mean, look, last week, what was it, 18? Was it 8? No, 16.
2 weeks ago, it was 15, and then last week, 16 rebounds.
I mean, that's just, you don't hear those numbers anymore.
Yeah, no, that's
true. You don't hear those numbers anymore. And to see that again, it's just a huge thing. So we've got the players there to do it, and the boys have got the win under their belt now. I think they can turn it around.
Yep.
And I shouldn't say think. I know they can turn it around and go on from here and hopefully scrape ourselves in. I can't. I think fourth spot will probably be our spot if we pull it.
Yep.
And that's to be realistic about it. And I think that's where they're going to go from there. And I can see them going that way in the final. I mean, that means they might get to play at a nice little new stadium that's been built in Perth.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of those, for those of you who don't know, that Perth has their own new Perth Arena, which is back in the city, and it seems to have worked for them.
Looks like an NBA stadium.
Well, look, it's the maximum capacity is 15,500, okay, which is huge. Like, they're numbers that the NBL hasn't, I don't think, has ever seen.
Back to the old Melbourne Park days.
It is, and it's quite large. It's the biggest one. Like I said, it's situated in the city. 15,500 capacity, and the first home game was against Adelaide 36ers. They pulled 11,500.
Yep.
Then the next game was against New Zealand at home. They pulled 11.
I don't like talking about Perth.
I know, but I'm excited about their stadium because we're trying to push for one here.
Yes, we are.
Right, and that's what I want to try and show is that we can pull those numbers too. I know we can.
Like Perth.
No one likes Perth. Come on, no one likes the Wildcats at all. I mean, PC liked them enough to go and play for them, but hated them coming back.
Yeah, well, no, we just sent him over there to get a little bit better and then come back and
playing to some of the older heads of the league and from there. But they've got their new stadium, so kudos to them. But what I really do want to quickly touch on before we pretty much wrap this up is
just talking about some stuff that we've done in the community lately, and something I wanted to talk with you is our Movember campaign.
Yes.
We both looked terrible for a month.
Oh, very much so.
Ended up raising over $500, which is pretty good.
I think it was a huge effort. I can take a little bit of that, but Rod here, you've done a big effort of that. You were hitting CEOs from the league all over the place. Why not? If you got the name, drop it in there.
But again, Millie Simic at the Hawks, over $3,000 worth. So top darts, Millie. Good job.
Well done. All for a good cause.
You got the nugs, Millie.
All for a good cause, raising funds for prostate cancer and also Beyond Blue, men's depression. So don't forget, if you do have issues, talk about it. That's the biggest message from that one. So that was a big effort, and a few of the boys had some dirty mows on that one. I thought Vinny's was looking pretty good there for a while. Yours, you look like a redhead boonie.
Oh, thank you.
I honestly thought you looked like, and I said it. I did say it on Facebook and Twitter at one stage there when you posted a picture. I said, "Hey, it's a red-headed boonie."
My childhood hero. Appreciate that. I'll thank that. Yeah.
We also had our Defence Force week where the boys played in their camo.
Great idea,
that was your idea.
It was.
That was a perfect idea.
Cheers.
If it was your idea, how come we didn't get singlets? We could have been wearing them right now.
Good idea again.
I like that idea as well. That was a great game. Obviously, all the jerseys being auctioned off. I know some of them went for. Some are finished. I know Rusty's went for about $220, I think, from memory, and that kind of stuff. There are still a few that are going.
Great Christmas idea. Chris's and Jake's finish on the 14th of December, and Mitch and Gary's are on the 16th of December. So you'll be able to, finalise that.
I tell you what,
go and collect them.
Get on Nordo's. Get on Mitch Norton's because just think of it like this.
No, actually don't. I want to
get on this because at the end of the day, he's only he's not a rookie anymore, but he's coming up. But just think when he makes the Boomers in 2016, bang, you've already got it. Yes, I've got to do that. It's my job to do that. We've got a few other things coming up as well. We've got the BHP Bulletin, So You Think You Can Play.
Actually, yeah, the guys go out and play against school kids. They do it every week, and the last week we went to, I think it was the South Townsville School, it marked a milestone that we'd visited 10,000 kids this season. So,
huge.
Well done to the Crocs in their Croc Neighbourhood campaign. Kira is the girl working in the office on the community stuff, and that was started by Ian Smythe, the old CEO. So, well done, Smythe. That was something you did very well.
And it's a big thing. Keep your eyes out. There will be a story coming that up very soon on CrocTV. I'm going to head out to when they go and visit the guys at Aikenvale State School. Cool. So we're going to get some footage of that one and have a bit of a chat to the kids to see their side of it, what they get out of it as well. So
just 10,000 kids. They do school of hoops. They go to the Children's Hospital. They went to the book week. They went to the challenge games. They did McHappy Day. Stuff they always do at Ronald McDonald House, and so much stuff that they do. Well done to the guys to give up their own time. They don't have to do that sort of stuff. They're kind of like the players to do it, but it's up to them to get out there and do it.
Definitely. We've got coming up on the 17th and the 18th of December. We've got the school holiday clinic. So for those future NBL stars, don't be afraid to come out there and have a crack at that one because I know you've got all the details there of what we're looking for.
Yeah, so we're looking for boys and girls aged 6 to 15 years old. It's going to be between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. On the 17th and 18th of December. So there's limited availability. You get a McHappy meal from the Healthy Choice menu while you're there. You get a couple of other things given to you. So go to the website crocodiles.com.au. There's a link there you can click on and go and register. So that is limited, so make sure you get in there as fast as you can.
A big thing that's coming up just before Christmas down in Radelaide, good old Radelaide, they've scored themselves the All-Star weekend.
Yep.
It's a big one. Obviously, we're a little bit disappointed because none of our boys made the starting fives.
We're the only team that didn't have a starter, but look at your record, and that's
but
fair enough.
You look at this, just for a little bit of thought, I've actually got the tallies here. Now, Gary was actually the 4th highest vote getter in the North All-Star side, but because Delion and Imagine pipped him at the post. He doesn't make the starting 5, but there's a pretty good chance that he'll be on the bench.
You know, I don't even know how the bench is selected. Is the coaches like the NBA?
No, from what I heard on a couple of other interviews and that, it's actually, from my understanding, it's the NBL will pick that. So they'll have some sort of weird and wonderful thing. I've actually got to interview the CEO tonight, so I might be able to find that out. I might be able to suss it out. Yeah, Christina Keneally. I'm interviewing her tonight.
I've got a photo with her today.
So I might be able to suss that out.
Yep.
See if she can give me an inside scoop on how they actually are going to pick the bench.
Well, we're definitely going to have someone there. PC is going to be in the 3-point shootout.
Oh, he's going to win that hands down.
Correct.
There's just no doubt about it. He could rock up in one of these snapbacks, just cashing it up, with all the Croc
baggy
merch, baggy dacks, got all the Croc merch on, and shoot with the Croc ball, and he'll still smash it. Is that the money ball? That could be the money ball.
This should be the money ball. PC bring a couple of those and be the money ball.
That's exactly
a bit of confidence. He'll even shoot with the rubber ball.
One of those little ones. One of those little bouncy ball ones. Boom, like that. But yeah, so I'll just, for those who, just quickly let you know who are the starting 5s. Cam Tregar, Ben Madgen, Adrice DeLeon, Darnell Lazar and Oscar Foreman are the starting 5 for the North.
Yep.
Starting 5 for the South, Cedric Jackson, Kevin Lish, Thomas Abercrombie, Seth Scott, Daniel Johnson. As much as it hurts me to say this, the South starting 5 is looking tough. It is looking tough. But I know, we got Cam Tregar in there. I know he's playing for them. I know he's playing for them, but he did play for us once.
I'm friends with Cam, and he's a genuine nice guy, and he's been to every single club in the NBL pretty much, and that's why everyone's voted for him. He's had so many friends around the country.
He's got so many supporters around the league. He's like the new Ben Knight.
He is.
He's like the new Ben Knight.
Matt Shanahan.
He's Matt Shanahan. Yeah. He's done it all. He's played for pretty much every team. So,
but Cam Tregar, well done, mate.
Captaincy as well. He's got the captaincy.
Really?
Yeah, he got the captaincy because he's the top vote getter. He is the captain of the team as well. Yeah. So we'll never hear the end of that. He might actually go back onto Twitter because of this.
Hey, and check out his YouTube segment too. Pull the triggers back on air. So good on you, Cam. Loving your segment.
That's it. So basically, that's the All-Star. They do have a few other things happening. Obviously, the dunk competition, full of a whole bunch of players that are injured at the moment. So it's going to be interesting. That one, they might have to. Have you ever seen anyone dunk in a wheelchair?
Oh, maybe over a wheelchair.
Over a wheelchair, they place it out there, then dunk over. No, but I think it's still going to be pretty good. My money's on Hurdle. Just quietly. Hurdle or Mitch Creek. Mitch Creek, I think, could get up there. He seems to get up there.
Well, Waxy from Melbourne might have a chance. He's pretty athletic and, a big guy with some, hard muscle dunks.
Just as long as he doesn't do anything in Speedos. He had a bad shocker there during the Olympics.
Again.
I don't know what was going on there.
But anyway. The little guys always look better because they look like they're floating in there. They've got a lot longer to get there.
They got to jump a lot higher. So it looks like it's harder because they've got to get higher off the ground. So that's pretty much it. They've also got a celebrity/legends 3-on-3 comp as well.
Haven't had a call yet.
No, I'm still waiting for my call too, and I'm pretty terrible at basketball, but I'm hard. I go hard.
Yeah. No,
I'm solid, solid on the post. Can't guarantee I'll get the ball in, but I will take a bump. So
I'll let Justin Bieber play in the NBA one. So.
He shot from the 3-point line all along. He was too scared to go in there and get his hair messed up.
Do you call that a shot though?
Well,
what he was doing.
He's Canadian. I know Nash is Canadian too, but Nash is the exception, I would say, on that one. But anyway, that's what's happening for the All-Star weekend. If you're going down Adelaide, have fun. If not, I know it's on TV. I've seen the draw, or the run sheet for the day. So get onto the nbl.com.au website to give you more details about that one. Just to finish off, we've got a couple little things that are happening here. We've got obviously our traditional New Year's Eve game against Adelaide again. What's the go there? We cop Adelaide 4 times in a month, pretty much.
Unfortunately, that had to do with Gold Coast pulling out and venue availability. So we played 4 times against Adelaide in 5 games.
It happened to us last year as well. We played pretty much Adelaide in like such a small period of time.
I can't explain that either.
No, it just doesn't. I understand the Gold Coast pulling out did make that happen.
So the game here on New Year's Eve, it's on Luke Shench's birthday, New Year's Eve.
So make sure you come along and support us and ruin his birthday. I did tell him after the last game up here that it was going to be pretty tough, and we did find the old red mop.
Yeah, we did.
To put him off a little bit there. Tickets are still available for that one, so you can get them from tecc.net.au.
The game is sponsored by Reading Cinemas, so
yes,
you might be able to
it'd be a huge one. Now, just quickly, we want to touch on, with Christmas coming up, there are lots of things to buy for that person that's got everything. Rod has the Hot to Trot Sun snapback.
Tell you what, by the time this goes to air, there might not be any of these left. They sold a heap on the first day that they got them out of the boxes, and they're on sale here Sonai at the Swamp, but otherwise you can get them on mblstore.com.au.
That's right.
Or at the office at Waggaroo. But these things,
they are the bomb. They are
fantastic.
The bomb. We've got these are just two of the options. There are a couple of other options as well. So
$37, $35, and the fitted ones are $40.
Yeah, I've got myself a fitted one. I like the fitted ones. So, I tell you what, I do love that Suns hat. Can't wait for Heritage round 15.
You reckon I could buy this for my wife? I reckon she'd really like that.
I'm sure she would love that. I think you should buy that for your wife. While you're at it, can you buy my wife one too?
Right.
Be really happy. That's all we've got time for today. We could sit here and talk all afternoon about the Crocs and the NBL. Thank you for joining in to our first ever video podcast. Hope to see you again real soon. But don't forget, you can track us on, we've got our handles. We've got Twitter, which is at TSV Crocs. What else have we got there?
On Facebook, go Croc Nation. There's YouTube channel. It's just Townsville Crocodiles, no space.
But you're probably either already on YouTube because that's how you'd be watching us right now.
Right.
But make sure you follow us because other stuff will pop up from time to time.
If you've got any suggestions on the video podcast too, just hit us up on Twitter and hashtag Croc Nation.
I reckon we hashtag CrocTV.
CrocTV.
Stand out a little bit more so we do pick up. If you've got questions or things that you want us to talk about, people you want us to talk to, give us a buzz, let us know, tell us what you're thinking, and we'll go from there. That's it for now. We'll see you out on the court at some stage. Let's go, Croc Nation. Go, Crocs, go!